I've been like in a cocoon phase, so really, like kind of like a cocoon of like transitioning in life. It's like I don't even know what I'm transitioning into.
Right, that's what I was going to ask you. If you're in a cocoon, the cocoon is normally prior to the big metamorphosis.
Yes, exactly.
What do you think is next?
I mean, it's like there's certain things happening that is like, okay, I could see that happening or whatever. I don't know. It's almost like, okay, if that's what's gonna happen, that's cool. I'm like, it's like I'm just open. Like I'm just open, like to my spirit and my intuition, because it's like I don't have any desires, like any specific desires or goals, and I never have. Like people, I don't have goals like that. I just be fucking living. Like,
right.
So, but I feel like everything that's happening just on a personal level, relationship level, like everything's expanding. Like, it's almost like you're opening to a whole new world, and you're just like, how's this new world gonna look and operate? The quote unquote old world. I'm like, it wasn't like everything typically worked for me because I didn't buy into a lot of stuff, but it's almost like life is like all that shit's over. There's some new shit about to happen.
Everything's changing.
Yeah, it's like this whole system, everything's being reset. Energy, like consciousness, everything is evolving, everything and everybody. So it's gonna be just, shit falling apart and shit coming together. So it's like, let the shit fall apart. And it's always like, but you can't dictate like necessarily what's gonna come together. You can only like be in the energy and be like, okay, well, let's see what happens from this energy,
Well, I mean, if you look at the world right now, look at everything that's going on. I mean, look at this pandemic and look at the situation in America specifically. You're in Atlanta, they just had major things here. We're in Chicago, we had major uprising, the situation in Minneapolis. Like, things are changing.
Oh yeah.
Now whether they're changing for the better or for the worse, I don't know. And I don't know if anyone knows, but things are definitely changing.
Well, I feel like, a lot of cultures and religions have talked about, I would say this time, Bible talked about revelations, Mayan prophecy talked about the end of a cycle, end of an age, other cultures talk, we're going to enter the, Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, there's been all this talk from all different types of cultures and belief systems, and people interpret it in their own ways, but everything's energetic. So I feel like that's what's happening on the energy level. It's like shit is shifting whether you want it to or not. Like it's like you can't stop it from happening, pretty much.
Right.
So it's like when we shift into a new energy field, and people talk about quote unquote ascension and all this sort of stuff. It's like, I think it's hard to comprehend. Even I can't really explain it from a human, because we're all trying to interpret these energies and these messages still, but it's still coming through a human mind. So there's only so much you're going to understand anyway. Nobody probably really knows what is for real happening. We're just being like, oh, I'm feeling this, it must mean this.
Right.
And you know how good we are at misinterpreting everything. So,
right. And I think, and this is just me talking, I mean, I'm not projecting this on you, but I think there have been the people who pull the strings in this world are used to kind of changing things and manipulating things to their favor. And I think what a lot of them are finding now is there are things that
it's not going to work the same way.
Right. There are things that even
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, if you have all the money in the world, but now you have the COVID and you're on a ventilator, your money doesn't serve you. You know what I mean? So I agree. I think it's almost like the world is rebooting or resetting. Yeah,
like there's being like a system reset, and it's
right.
And I do feel like that too. Like I feel like there's a lot of conspiracy theories. I do think I said, but I think there's a lot more people, quote unquote, waking up. There's a lot more people being like, wait a minute, like what the fuck? No.
Right.
What the fuck? Like, come on now. Like, there's way more people with that. What the fuck? I ain't going for that. Even if they did go for it before. And that's all you need is enough people to be like, we ain't going for that, for shit not to work. So even if we have all these conspiracies they used to work, I said, I feel like they ain't gonna work the same way when you got enough people being like, nah, homie, we can see right through this bullshit. Like, nobody's trying to go for that on purpose. Like,
right now, you know, you're a very beautiful lady, and beautiful ladies typically aren't into nerdy things. I don't know, but do you watch any of the Marvel comic book movies? You see
I've watched. I mean, you know, like X-Men, the Avengers.
The reason I brought it up is because Endgame, which was, you know, the big movie that everyone saw, made $10 gazillion. The villain, the big villain in that movie, Thanos, he said something that has stuck with me since I heard it. And he said,
"And as long as there are those that remember what was, there will always be those that are unable to accept what can be."
That's true.
This is the villain.
That's true.
This is the villain, but you know, that's profound. And I think a lot of the systems and a lot of the energy, like you were talking about, has been maintained by kind of the older generation and the older level of thinking.
Yeah.
And I think and I don't want to be as dark as to say as they die out, but it's kind of
that is what it is. That you say is that energy is dying out. It is dying out.
And there are new people with new thoughts and new ways of thinking. A lot of that is shifting, and I think that accounts for a lot of the shift you see. Like, I watched
and we're not seeing that. Like, you know, we think all this other stuff is so because it's in our face. I said there's way more people who are not on that shit. There's way more people who are looking at this shit like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, that shit's so fucking played out. Like, I definitely agree with you.
You know, if you watch, you know, the news and you watch some of these uprisings, riots or whatever, it's as many white people out there as black people, and that was not the case before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I think there's been a shift. I think as young people coming into their own, coming into adulthood, a lot of them are like, nah, I ain't with that. I'm not with that way of thinking.
Yes, younger generations. I said we don't see them, but the younger generations are like, what? Y'all really tripping off of it? Yeah, really? Stop it. Like, really, like I say, it's like the older energy is kind of still grappling this, and it's being put in our face. Like, this is what's mainly. I'm like, I feel like the majority of people ain't on that shit, but because if you're on social media and the media, that's what's getting. They're not interviewing the young kids who are like, why y'all tripping off that shit? We fucking gay and bi and together. And they're like, no, what? We into every fucking thing and every fucking body. and it's all love.